Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. All right, so Shannon Bream has a letter from. She got it from John Roberts. He doesn't have it on his Twitter feed, I guess, because she's reporting on this. She's been following the story, so he just forwarded it right to her. I don't know how he came to possess it, but it's a letter from an ex-boyfriend of Dr. Ford, Christine Blasey Ford. The first accuser of Brett Kavanaugh. And the main accuser. They're investigating the two. The third one's pretty much, there's all sorts of stuff coming out. I'm not even going to touch that. But this letter is interesting, and it actually, according to this letter, and it's fairly detailed. I'll just read it real quickly. It contests several of the things that Christine Blasey Ford in testimony said, and it's definitely pertinent. And also on Shannon Breen's Twitter feed, it says here that Grassley is, I'm going to read that letter right now in a second, but it says Grassley is seeking the, her therapist notes that reportedly she gave a portion of to the Washington Post when she did an interview with them. So Senator Grassley sends a letter to Ford legal team asking for therapy notes. WAPO says some provided to them, all recordings of polygraphs, all communications Ford had with Washington Post. And I didn't even, it's impossible to read this letter here. I don't know, and I couldn't actually even download it myself to close up, but I think that's a good enough summary. What's important, I think, is this letter here. This is over. It is. It's over. He's going to be confirmed. And they're pressing forward with a vote, I think, on Friday. The FBI is continuing its investigation. They just wrapped up Mark Judge's, interview that took 2 days, Monday and Tuesday today. Supposedly it went fairly well. I think Ford's legal team has complained that the FBI hasn't reached out to them, but reports are that they're just going to be using her testimony. And if they need any further clarification, they will, be speaking with her. But so far, they're just going by what she testified on, and she testified for several hours under oath. But the ex-boyfriend, it says, I blank am a current resident of somewhere in California. I first met Christine Blasey, now Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, in 1989 or 90 in California. From 91, I was just friends with Ford. From approximately 92 to 98, I was in a relationship with Dr. Ford. I found her truthful and maintained no animus towards her. During our time dating, Dr. Ford never brought up anything regarding her experience as a victim of sexual assault, harassment, or misconduct. Dr. Ford never mentioned Brett Kavanaugh. During some of the time we were dating, Dr. Ford lived with Monica L. McLean, who I understood to be her lifelong friend or her lifelong best friend. During that time, it was my understanding that McLean was interviewing for jobs with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. I witnessed Dr. Ford help McLean prepare for a potential polygraph exam. Dr. Ford explained in detail what to expect, how polygraphs worked, and helped McLean become familiar and less nervous about the exam. Dr. Ford was able to help because of her background in psychology. Dr. Ford and I lived together while we were dating and stayed together in a long-distance relationship when Dr. Ford moved to Hawaii sometime around 1998, although I am not sure of the particular year, and it might have been a bit earlier or later. While visiting Ford in Hawaii, we traveled around the Hawaiian Islands, including one time on a propeller plane. Dr. Ford never indicated a fear of flying. To the best of my recollection, Dr. Ford never expressed a fear of closed quarters, tight spaces, or places with only one exit. I assisted Dr. Ford with finding a place to live somewhere in California. She ended up living in a very small 500 square foot house with one door. Despite trying to maintain a long distance relationship, I ended the relationship once I discovered that Dr. Ford was unfaithful while living in Hawaii. After the breakup, I took her off the credit card we shared, but nearly 1 year later, I noticed Dr. Ford had been charging the card and charged about $600 worth of merchandise. When confronted, Dr. Ford said she did not use the card, but later admitted to the use after I threatened to involve fraud prevention. I didn't speak again to Ford until about 2002 when Ford contacted me briefly. After that, I hadn't thought much about her until I saw her story in the Washington Post on Sunday, September 16, 2018. I do not want to become involved in this process or current investigation, but wanted to be truthful about what I know. Signed, so-and-so. October 2nd, 2018. 8 o'clock something. Pacific time. Which, 8 o'clock, is that right? 8 o'clock Pacific time. No. That would mean something's not right there. I don't know. It's just 8 o'clock. So that's it. And that obviously is in direct contradiction to many of the things she said during testimony. Fear of flying. She was asked about had she ever, taken a polygraph or have any knowledge of polygraphs. I wonder if this knowledge wasn't known in advance. I mean, some of these things, some of the questions that Rachel Mitchell, if that's her name, the prosecutor asked, it seemed as though she was going in certain directions, based on some background information. But that's definitely, that's pretty... I mean, that's somebody that dated her, that person's identity is obviously, and they dated for a length of time. It's not as though, he's putting that to paper, okay? This thing is done. He's going to be confirmed, no doubt about it. And this whole thing should have never happened and has been a huge embarrassment, for the Democrats. They completely embarrassed themselves. And now, there's several Democrats that are going to end up voting for him. Not several, but a couple. They were just talking about Manchin in West Virginia, in Heidi Heitkamp, I think is her name, in North Dakota. In those two states, in North Dakota, like 60%, 60 to 30%, 60% over 30% want him approved, And it's nearly the same thing in West Virginia. It's a done deal. He's going to be confirmed, and which is good. It's just fine by me. It's an interesting development, though, and it just is breaking now, so just bringing it to you. There's been other stuff, too, that I just I didn't want to beat it to death, but this is worth telling you about. And that is the story there. There's some other outrageous claims. Like there's one here from Byron York. It's a story about somebody that was in a fraternity with Brett Kavanaugh at Yale and makes another outrageous claims. It's completely unsubstantiated. And I think it says here, this could be the big one. Yali sends Senator Coons a new Kavanaugh allegation. Coons forwards to Chairman Grassley, and Chairman Grassley's already just said this is utterly ridiculous and doesn't even pay it much attention. I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to read this? It's silly though. It's some guy named Thad. My name is Thad Lowe, and I was an undergraduate at Yale during Brett Kavanaugh's years in New Haven. During 1987-88 school year, I was an eyewitness to a shocking ceremony taking place inside the DKE fraternity house that involved a semicircle of cheering frat brothers watching a local prostitute performing a public sex act. I have 3 additional eyewitnesses and 2 additional non-witnesses to whom I had related the event back in the late 80s. I can't say for certain that Judge Kavanaugh was present in the frat house during the event, but he was still at Yale during the time period, attending Yale Law School. So he wasn't even there. Basically, it's silly. And that's it. All right. He's going to be confirmed. It's over. Excuse me. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below, and I will see you in the next video. Later, man.